Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Mount Helix. After my previous beer review of Lord's Roy, I just wanted to do another one, to be honest, because it was so good. So now we're breaking out Mount Helix. It is a 6% West Coast Pale Ale, once again from Lord's Brewing Co in Yorkshire, and I don't really know a lot about this one other than it's a 6% West Coast Pale Ale. So I'm expecting this to be a bit piney, quite bitter, but probably not as much as the Silver Spurt that we did a few weeks ago. And yeah, I know nothing else. So just before we break into it, here is a quick look at the can. Smells a bit citrusy. It's quite dark. That's a common trait now amongst Lord's beers, that they tend to just be a bit darker in colour than average, and of that I am a big fan. And I poured that one correctly, so ooh, it's floral, but I'm getting lots of sweetness, a bit of caramel, a bit of biscuit, a few grassy notes, not particularly piney yet. That smells like it's going to be properly good. Definitely more kind of grassy and floral than it is sweet, but there's definitely kind of a nice balance going on in there with both of those sides. Quite hoppy, as you would imagine. Right, let's get into this. Cheers. Oh, it has got a bit of kick. It has got quite a bit of kick actually. It's not as intensely smacking you in the back of the teeth as the Silver Spur, but it has that very typical West Coast bitterness in there. But other than being quite bitter, it's a pretty well balanced beer. Now I'm going to be totally open and say this is not my favourite beer style. So you know, this is not going to be my favourite of the Lord's beers by any means, but it is a good one of its sort. Let's say that much. I mean, that colour really is really something else. A few marks on the outside of the glass there, but there's a tiny bit of sediment maybe. A couple of tiny flecks, nothing serious, and it's entirely possible that was in the glass before. I'm not entirely certain that did come out of the can, but you know what? It's I mean, it's cold, so it's fogged the glass up, but it's not super hazy, but you definitely can't really see through it either. Yeah, it's definitely got a sweet kick to it. I think this is going to be one of those that really does just get gradually better and better as you acclimatise to that bitterness, and I think by the end this is going to be probably quite a sweet West Coast style. Before we take a look at the can, let's do a quick top to bottom taste profile. Initially, it's actually a little sweet, a little bit sweet, a little bit malty on the front of the tongue. So that opens up into the floral notes, and just as you're getting a bit of a nice summery floral thing, a big lick of bitterness just smacks it. Stays quite bitter over the middle of the tongue. The end is quite thirst quenching, a little bit juicy, but without being particularly fruity. That's where more of the grassy, starting to get a bit of pine now, lies up, and then you get a bit of a dry bitter finish right on the back of it. I wonder if this is any different taking a big gulp, because I've been quite conservative with it so far. Let's give it a go. Maybe a bit more rounded with a big gulp, but the overall taste profile is similar. Maybe a touch less bitter with a big gulp as well. But let's set this aside, take a look at the can. Right, Lord's Brewing Co, Mount Helix, 6% West Coast Pale Ale, robustly hopped, yeah. Citrus, pine and floral notes. Yeah, pine wasn't big on the nose. It definitely is in there in the taste though. West Coast Pale Ale, brewed at Lord's Brewing Co, Huddersfield West Yorkshire. Ingredients are water, malted barley, malted wheat, yeast, Cascade and Gelina hops. Influenced by Californian Pale Ales, this beer is robustly hopped, giving it an intense flavour that is undeniably Moorish. It is bursting with citrus, pine and floral overtones, which give way to a lightly toasted crisp malt base. England to San Diego in one sip. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, to be honest. There's definitely got that maltiness in there, which for me is a big plus, because I feel like a lot of this style beer ignores the malt profile a bit, and ultimately just ends up being overly piney, overly bitter, overly floral, which is, for me, not my go-to, but I appreciate everyone has their own tastes. As far as West Coasters goes, this is one of the best, for me, that I've had. But as I say, it's not really my go-to style. But that is all it says on the can, so let's see if the beer has changed at all while we've been talking about it. It's very much the same on the nose. Maybe not quite as open. Everything's condensed down a little bit. Those sweet notes absolutely still in there, but also floral, hoppy. Still not super piney on the nose, but more kind of light grass aromas. And on the taste, it is getting better, as I suspected. I'm kind of becoming used to that flavour profile, which I say is not my go-to, but it has got a very nice malt profile. It's almost starting to get a bit burnt toffee kind of a thing going on, a bit similar to, I think, what they had in their Bandon cast. So I do wonder if there's any similarities in the malts used in those, or whether this is just a result of the Yorkshire water or something else similar that they do between those beers. But that is a properly good West Coaster. This one isn't one I'm probably going to buy again. It's just not my go-to kind of style. But I think even if, like me, this isn't your go-to, you should try it, because I am enjoying this and will thoroughly enjoy finishing this glass. There's definitely some subtle fruit notes in there as well. It's a bit peachy, a bit more kind of stone fruits rather than the tropical stuff. Really subtle though. But otherwise, I don't really have a great deal else to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it if you haven't already. Subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.